Okay, so this week's CTT is on a Tuesday instead of a Thursday. It's Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025. And the reason for that is, like I've said last week, I believe the week before, I'm going to be going on a business trip for a while. I'm leaving tomorrow, and I should be back the 4th. I think that's the plan, but we'll see what happens. Oh, excuse me. Essentially, I don't know how things are going to look on Thursday. Like, I don't know how much time I'm going to have that morning or how much energy I'll have that evening. So, don't know if I'll be able to. And then Wednesday is the travel day, and I know there will be no opportunity in the morning or the afternoon, and I know I'm going to be exhausted that evening. So, I figured, let's go and do it Tuesday before I leave. As for next week, kind of the same thing. For all I know, I'm just not going to get to it on Thursday, or I might not be able to do it Friday. Hopefully, like, Saturday, but even then, that's a travel day. So that one might be late. That one might be like Sunday. It might be a CTS. That'll be weird. Anyways, point. Doing this a little bit early because of logistics. But I do have some things to talk about over the past few days. Number one, let's just start with it. Boy, the Saints got destroyed on Sunday. And there's a little bit of solace, the fact that, the Falcons also lost by 30. The Falcons didn't even score a point. Makes me, as a division rival, it's like, I feel a little bit better because of that. I'm like, dude, we were down 32 points at halftime. What was the final score? I think it was 44-13. It's like, damn, we lost by 31. Hey, we outscored them 7-6 in the second half. Yeah, just shame about that first half, though, huh? And I think I said this last week or the week before. I was like, look, I don't have hope for the season. I think I said, I don't have hope, but I have hope. There's hope that we'll be competitive and that we'll look competent and we'll win a few games and that there's something we can build upon. There's maybe a good foundation and a future. I have hope that we can get that throughout the season, but I don't have, hope that we're going to be good this year. And so, starting 0-3 with two close losses and then an absolute belt to ass. I'm like, okay, I was right to not have hope. But after a game like this, I'm like, I don't know, do I even have the small hope? I don't know. It's could we go 0-17? I don't know. Again, we were competitive in a couple games. Maybe we can win a game or two. I don't know everyone that's I know we play Buffalo next week. We're not winning that. That was the thing. I was like, okay, I know we're going to get destroyed when we go into Buffalo. I didn't think we'd get beat this badly by Seattle, but I still expected to lose. But I don't know, are we playing the entire AFC East? Well, yeah, we would, because otherwise we would play a team with the same, standing as us, and we did not win our division last year. So if we're playing the AFC East, I don't know, the Patriots, the Jets, the Dolphins, those feel like beatable teams, but we are also a very beatable team ourselves. But I don't know, that's some potential wins. Carolina just beat so they just beat Atlanta by 30, but we can maybe beat Carolina once, maybe twice. Atlanta, that's a winnable couple games, but also very much not. I don't think we're going to really I don't think we're going to do much against Tampa. Tampa looks really good right now. There could be some cause for concern for them, the fact that, you had to have a comeback every week. You're not winning comfortably, but what that says to me is this is a team that can win close games. This is a team that's got some grit to them. But, I don't like our chances against the Bucs this year. I just don't like our chances this year, period. But there's that. I did watch that Eagles-Rams game. That was a fun game, and it was an interesting game, because watching the first half, I'm like, the Eagles should be down way more than they are. The Rams just can't finish drives. And that's ultimately what came to bite them in the end, in addition to, A.J. Brown not getting called for a push-off, which I did not see the Adams touchdown earlier, and I heard that's like that one was also kind of a flagrant PI, so maybe it was like, look, we gave one to the Rams, we'll give one to Philly. But also, it was the 2 blocked kicks. Like, that's wild that there were multiple blocked field goals in the same game, and then, like, a walk-off kick 6, which they didn't need the extra points at the end. It's just kind of neat that they did it. Like, I'll definitely give Philly that. Like, look, if you got it, big guy, keep running. There were other blocked field goals this week, because I know, like, I'm at risk of doing the LeBron meme, but I remember that morning, I was like, I don't know. I have a feeling Cleveland's going to beat Green Bay. Green Bay looks really good right now, like they're on the top of the world, but Cleveland does have a legit defense. I feel like it's going to be a game where it's going to be really close. I think Cleveland will gut it out. I didn't think it was going to be on a blocked field goal, like blocking a game-winning field goal and then like being able to do their own. Was not expecting that at all. But I think there was supposed to be like a couple others. I think there was a blocked extra point in one game, and I think there was like a blocked punt. I don't remember where the blocked punt was. Was that in Minnesota? Because I watched the first half also of like Minnesota and Cincinnati, and just, dude, Isaiah Rodgers went off. That was a game. And I won't lie, like, I was kind of laughing at the Bengals in the first half, like, damn, they're getting destroyed. I was like, all right, karma. The Saints got destroyed too. I'll take that. But it was a pretty fun week. What are some of the big games next week? Like, I think the only one I know off the top of my head are the Saints and the Bills, which is not a big game. I expect us to lose by like 40. I think the Bills are like 16.5-point favorites. They'll probably win by more. I'm not really sure who else plays next week. Oh, no, sorry. I know Chiefs-Ravens is next week, which is a really interesting game with both teams being 1-2. And so, like, someone's going to go 1-3 unless there's a tie, which is a big hole to climb out of. But I don't know. Like, when I look at the Ravens, like, well, who have they lost to? They lost to the Bills in a really close game, who's one of the best teams in the league, and the Lions, who didn't look great week 1 against the Packers, but have looked good the next 2 weeks. So, okay, the Ravens are fine. But that defense has also given up a lot of points, which is not fine. And the Chiefs, the defense is still playing well. It's well enough, but the offense has not been clicking. And I know they have a lot of injuries. I mean, Worthy is injured. Rice is out. I think there was an O-line injury or two as well, but I might be wrong about that. But there have been a lot of seasons where the Chiefs have looked beatable, they've looked gettable, and they still went to the Super Bowl anyways. But they feel more beatable and gettable right now. And I think part of that is just how good the Chargers look too. Like the Chiefs, obviously, if it's only week 3, we're about to go to week 4. There is a lot of time left. The Chiefs can still win that division. They can still be a wild card and make the Super Bowl and make a run. But I feel like right now, if the Ravens were to go 1-3, I'd be concerned. I'd be a little worried. But I would still feel like this team can climb out of that. Especially because, like, okay, the Browns don't, again, have a really good defense, but the Browns don't look amazing. Burrow's out, so you're not super worried about the Bengals. And the Steelers are 2-1, but yeah, they did beat the Patriots. It's like they're 2-1, but they don't feel like an amazing team either. That can, of course, that can change, but like, okay, you're still kind of in the thick of things if you're the Ravens. The Chiefs at 1-3, especially with how good the Chargers have looked. I know the Broncos are 1-2, but they still look and feel good. Like they've lost 2 close games. I would be more worried if the Chiefs went 1-3. And granted, there's a lot of season left. We'll see how they do in their other 5 division games. We'll see what other teams do they play. Like they're going to play the Ravens, they're going to play the Bills. I think they play the AFC South. So they'll probably beat Tennessee. Jacksonville looks like okay. but not amazing either. Houston's 0-3. They can probably still... I don't know. I guess I'll put it like this. The Chiefs don't look impressive right now, but they can still make the playoffs. And they're the kind of team where if they're in the playoffs, they are always dangerous to go on a run. Even when they look gettable, beatable, mortal, whatever words you want to use. I think that's kind of all I have to say about football. So I think I'll end that part there. So in terms of writing, I haven't really done much with Orichalcum the past week. I think I mentioned last week was I had a day where I kind of sat down and was like, okay, this is how many chapters this character gets in book 2. Boom, boom, boom. Good, done. Haven't done anything with it since, but that was kind of nice. I think I already mentioned this. I think I mentioned this on Thursday, but maybe not. Was I sent it to like a college professor of mine that I'll send a lot of my stuff to, and she really liked it. I think what her exact words were, I liked it before, I like it now. You win. And that just made me feel really good. I was like, I kind of really needed it that day. And like I had said, I have a review coming in the next week or so. I think they said 2 to 3 weeks, and it will be 2 weeks on Thursday. So I'm expecting, I'm not holding my breath because 2 to 3 weeks, and that third week would be next Thursday. So that's kind of when I'm like, all right, I'm expecting it by then, but if it shows up in the next couple days, I'll be happy with that too. With the VN, so both artists, the one for the CGs and the backgrounds, both of them said they're good to go, and the backgrounds we're going to start in a couple weeks. The first CG is already in progress. I'm just happy about that. Or like this one has been stagnant for a few months now, and I'm like, I want to move forward, but I have literally no one to move forward with. I've been looking for a while, and it's like, I think this will work. I think this will work, and it feels good to have a plan in place with it. It's like, okay, this is the stuff we need. We've got people. We're starting to move. Cool. We're back in action. And then with Isla, I actually have done some writing the past few days. Like, it's a pretty long chapter, so, and there's just a lot of, I don't know if technical stuff is the right word, but feels like the right. I guess it's like there's just like a lot of details in the weeds, and like I'm just kind of taking extra care to make sure that I'm getting these parts right. So this chapter is taking a bit longer than it probably would otherwise. But I'm almost done with this one. There's still a lot left. Like the first book is the longest, which is something I like because it's most stories I know don't work like that. It's like, you have your first one and then you expand and then you expand and then you expand. Like, no, this one is, they get shorter as they go along. There's less people to juggle. There's less characters you have to check in on as they go on. And just kind of a lot of the things that you like, not just, all right, like part of it is there's less characters, but also there's just kind of less goofy shit as the series progresses, because the tone is getting more intense, it's getting more serious. There can still be like some jokes and some quips, there can still be some levity, but it is like, yeah, there's parts in book 1 that are just, we're just kind of here to chill for a bit. We're just gonna have some fun. Yes, we are in an intense situation, but I mean, it's still a game. We're trying to enjoy ourselves. Yeah, that doesn't happen as much when you go forward. And I feel like even though the books get shorter, they do feel like they get a bit denser. And I don't know, I just kind of like the weird, like almost the progression, but weirdly like backwards progression it has. I just think that's kind of neat. But it does mean that, yeah, it's going to take a while to really get through book 1. I had said a while ago, I was like, I'm going to finish it in a month, then the next one in a month. That shit did not happen. That is not going to happen. But I'm happy that I'm at least making progress. And even if it is kind of slow at times, even if I do take long breaks, all 3 of these stories that I'm working on, all these projects, there is a lot of progress, and I kind of know this is where it's at, this is where it's going, and I'm happy with that. I think there's only 2 other things to talk about. I watched Him over the weekend. What day was that? Was that Saturday, I think? Yeah, I think it was Saturday. It was fine. It's interesting, because I won't go into spoilers, and I thought about it, I was like, do I want to make a video on this movie? I'm like, I don't think I care enough to, so I won't. But I'll say this. I had an idea of where the movie was going from watching the trailers, and I was more or less right. I didn't get, like, every specific detail, but I guess kind of the vibe, especially with some of the endgame stuff, was about what I was expecting going in. And the weird thing is, I'm like, okay, this is where I think the movie's going, and I think this sounds really interesting. I don't know if I'm, like, super excited. I'm like, I want to watch this. I want to see how this goes. And the movie gave me really close to what I was, like, expecting it to give me, but I didn't like it. And it'd be, like, I could understand if it was the opposite. I'm like, that is not the movie I was expecting. Yeah, like, it's fine for what it is. Or it's like, look, I just didn't like it for what it was, and it didn't give me what I was looking for. I'm like, it gave me what I was looking for, what I thought. I just don't love how it was handled. But it's genuinely hard for me to articulate what's wrong. I think for me, it's just the tone feels off. Like, the movie, again, without trying to go into details, it feels real. It feels too grounded for how weird it gets at points, but also for how weird it gets, I wish the whole movie was a bit weirder. It reminds me a lot of Perfect Blue, and it was something I thought while watching the movie. I'm like, this feels like a live-action Perfect Blue, kind of in a similar vein to, like, something like Black Swan. But instead of being about, I guess in a way, like, you know, sports is still the entertainment industry, but instead of, like, a transition from music into acting, or how Black Swan is specifically, like, about dance, this is about football. Okay, like, that's cool. And, like, very minor spoilers, this happens very early on in the film, I think I can say it. The main character gets assaulted and gets a concussion, and so his head is a little funky. So there are things that happen in the movie, and you're like, okay, you don't know if what's happening is real, or if he's hallucinating because he's actually a little loopy, and, like, there's actual brain damage going on. I'm like, okay, that is interesting. I kind of like that idea. But again, I feel like when it goes weird, it's a little too weird for how grounded the rest of the film is trying to be. But I don't know, just some of the weirdness too. Like, I feel like I'm supposed to be taking it seriously, or it's supposed to be scary, but I was laughing. Like, the scene in the sauna, without going into spoilers, if you've seen the film, I think you know what I'm talking about. I was laughing the entire time because of just how out there it was. The climax of the film, I was also laughing. And I'm like, I'm enjoying the spectacle of what's happening, but I feel like this should feel really satisfying, and it just doesn't. I don't know, it just feels kind of empty. And I think that's kind of just the feeling I left the film with. Not only just because that's how it ended, but this feels like there's good ideas, and I think, like, an interesting thematic, like, core. But I just left it feeling empty. And not in a good way. Like, the way I felt like with The Long Walk, where I'm like, I'm not okay, and I, like, gotta think about a lot of stuff. This was just, Huh. Okay. Like, I watched it with two friends, and one of them, when the movie was done, just kind of looked at us and said, well, that was certainly a movie. And we all had the same vibe. It's like, that was only like an hour and a half. That felt longer, and not in a good way. Like, I guess it's another thing. And I get it, again, because the main character being kind of loopy is out of it. The film and the scenes feel really disjointed. Like, there's points where, like, the editing is so quick, I'm like, I don't know what the hell is going on or what I'm looking at. And I feel like, yeah, you're supposed to feel disoriented, and, like, it just didn't work for me. I think that's all I have to say about that. So now let me talk about the last thing. Let me talk about something that is working for me, this Ding Dang Trails in the Sky remake. I'm happy to be playing one of my favorite games again. I, for the most part, like the new fresh coat of paint. I will say there's a lot of points, and this is something that happens for me, like playing Kuro as well, where the action combat and like a lot of the base game combat can feel very brainless, or like, okay, I'm just gonna like hit things for a bit, and then you're decide to destroy it here, or like go into a battle where I have like an advantage attack. Okay, now just like blah, 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 we're good. I will say, its version of Nightmare feels a lot harder than Kuro 2, or Reverie's version of Nightmare. Because in those games, it's generally either early game is really rough because you don't have a lot of access to stuff, or the end game is really rough because the like final bosses are just stupid, and then everything else will be pretty easy. So far, what I've noticed, and for context, I'm in Ruin. Like, I just did the the Azure Tower. There wasn't a quest marker for it. I'm just gonna go do it. So that's where I'm at. Regular enemies, for the most part, are very manageable, pretty easy, with a few, like, notably tougher monsters. Like, okay, like, this one has a lot of health, it's very tanky, it's pretty fast, it does a lot of damage. I need to be careful and mindful of this one, but these others, this is okay. Boss monsters also tend to be very manageable. However, there can be some bullshit. Like, I did the quest, which was, like, fight the monsters outside the Azure Tower, where there's a bunch of them that are weak to magic, but you cannot use physical crafts. That took one attempt, but it was a very long attempt. Like, I only have Estelle and Joshua. We've got some good spells, but boy, these things are tanky. Like, this is taking a while, and I gotta be careful. Okay. Or like in Bose, it was like the big fish dude. He was a problem. Like, he took me a few attempts. Like, damn, he's pretty fast. He has a lot of damage. Oh shit, he can rage boost. Yikes. But then, like, the bosses. The fight against the Kappa was so hard. So I had an attempt, like my first attempt is like, okay, this is difficult. They can move pretty fast. They do a lot of damage. Even with Earthguard, like giving me 1,000 extra health, essentially. In one craft, a shield is basically gone. This is dangerous, but I'm making progress. I'm doing this. And then they just started rage boosting and it was over. I'm like, oh, I just don't have turns anymore. And there's literally nothing I can do because I can't evade their attacks. As I'm not doing like any evade tank builds, but it's their attacks cannot miss because now they're in rage mode and they just get so many turns. Like, I literally can't do anything. Then I had a few attempts that just did not get off the ground. Had another attempt. I'm like, okay, Josette's down. That took a while. Dawn's not in rage boost mode, but like he's got some damage. And Kyle just boosted, but he's getting there. I can maybe do this. What do you mean he just boosted again? Well, now we're dead. Now we lose. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. So I stopped playing. Went and had myself like a nice bottle of Coca-Cola, because there was one just in the fridge. Vented about like, this is bullshit, this sucks, this is hard. I know it's gonna be hard. I picked Nightmare, but like, what is this? This is awful. All that. Then went back, said, okay, here's what we're gonna do. I don't want to grind, but everyone's close enough to getting a level that I'd like to get everyone up to the next level. I think we were level 18, so I got everyone up to 19. Sat down with my equipment and said, okay, what do I need from all of you? Olivier, you need to be Ooga Booga. Joshua, you just need to be the fastest thing ever. Estelle, I'm going to try to make you a tank. It's not going to matter because you're still going to take so much damage, but I'll try to make you a bit tankier. Shara, I kind of don't know exactly. Like, you're just kind of going to get whatever you get, but I'm going to try to hook you up. And then had to really sit with everyone's ornaments. Like, okay, Olivier's my Ooga Booga. And what I've thought to myself in these failed attempts is I would love it if he had AoEs. Because he just kind of didn't. Like, his best AoE was Blue Destination, or Blue Impact, I think. Yeah, I think Blue Destination is the song, Blue Impact is the spell. Which is a good spell, but its AoE isn't particularly big. I'm like, I need you to have, like, Stone Impact. Is that the strong one? Or, no, yeah, I think it's like Stone Lance or Stone Hammer's the weak one. Stone Impact's the strong one. Like, I need you to have that. And, or, like, Arrow Storm. So I figured that out. I think he had both. So cool. Now we've got that. He's got big spells that can really utilize that arts. Or like that art stat. Cool. Joshua, you already have what you need. You're fast. You've had White Gehenna. I think I just kind of tried to make sure he had some healing on him. Like, okay, you're good. Shara, when I was doing those quests with Annalise, she was casting something called Siphon Wing, which was like, everyone's arts go up, everyone has foresight. That's incredible. You're the one who has required wind. I'm going to mess with your setup so you have that. If you have other spells you can cast, that's cool. Like, I want you to also have like some heals, like do some support. This is going to be a really important spell because the foresight's going to make it us harder to hit. It's going to make Olivier do even more damage. Let's go. And Estelle, I just need to make sure that you keep Earthguard. If I want you to also have some like additional HP and be able to tank, but I need you to have that. If other people have it too, great. That's kind of going to be your spell. So I messed with that, made sure that everyone had their required spell. Some other nice support stuff too. Cool. Let's try this again. And that fight went from insanely hard to get off the ground and impossible once one of them started rage boosting to, well, that was kind of easy. Like, there was still a couple points where it got a little precarious, but that was actually pretty easy. Oh, we're so back. And I love that feeling. I love that feeling of, I don't want to say it. It's like a puzzle. Or like, here's the problem. Here's the pieces you have. Here's the tools at your disposal. Solve it. Okay. This is how I'm going to solve it. That is not working. What are you learning from this? I'm learning that this is hard and I'm ill-equipped. Okay. So you're ill-equipped. What do you have that can fix it? Like, what would, like, if you're doing it wrong this way, is there a way you can make it work? And I just love that. Just being able to solve a problem with preparation and strategy. And it's the kind of thing where I'm like, look, like, there is luck involved. Like, is there going to be a crit? When are they going to do a counter and just do so much damage they kill somebody? An ill-timed miss? What the bonuses are going to be? Luck is involved. I won't deny that. But it's not like me playing a fighting game or an action game where I can blame my cerebral palsy. I'm like, yeah, like, I felt I hit the button and nothing happened. And that's frustrating. And I felt my finger do the input. I guess it just didn't register. I can't blame anything like that when it's just pure turn-based strategy. It's, did your plan work? You can blame luck, because that's always going to be a factor. But it's something that I can do and I can handle. And I did. And it felt good. It felt great. And there was this other bit I did yesterday in Ruin where I found this cave that was just full of enemies. I'm like, okay, that's a lot of dudes. There's 2 or 3 of these big birds that do a lot of damage and are really tanky that I don't like dealing with. And there's this big, mollusk looking dude who I know is a problem. And I only have 2 party members. Here's what I'm going to do. We're just going to hit and run. Because one thing I learned in the prologue is when you do, because I think Kuro works the same way. You can beat up an enemy in the overworld, go into combat, or go into turn-based, do damage in turn-based, and if you want to go back and leave the fight, you can, and it goes back into action combat. The enemy's health doesn't change in between phases. Not oh, you ran away. Well, they have full health now. It's less of you escaped the fight so they heal, and more of you transition into a new phase of combat. Which means what I learned I could do is I can beat them up in the overworld and get to where one is dazed, initiate combat, do a burst, and then leave. And kind of rinse and repeat and just start to thin out the herd. It's okay, I'm going to pop an S-Craft here because Joshua has Black Fang now, which means he can death blow some shit. Maybe thin the herd out a little more. Rinse and repeat. You're okay, this is still kind of precarious because there's a lot of them. And if they get an advantage on me, I might be boned. They just got an advantage on me. I might be boned. How do I escape this? Or there was one point where I'm all right, this is working. Oh, Joshua literally can't move. He cannot escape. All right, we gotta survive this turn. Estelle, it's gonna be on you, girl. And I love that. Because to me, that is really fun. Just, again, here's a puzzle. All these enemies, these are the tools at your disposal. These are the equipment, the mechanics. How are you going to tackle this? And I love being able to solve those kinds of puzzles. So I think that's it. I'm definitely sad that I'm not going to be able to just sit and play the game until it's done. I have to play the game for a bit, trip, and then go back and play the game. But I'm glad I at least have 2 chapters done, and I don't know how much I'm going to get done today because I have some other stuff to do. But I want to have a decent chunk of Act 3 done. I would love it if I could at least get to the play. But I don't know if I'm going to get that far. Excuse me. But get back, finish Sky, and depending on timing, I will either have a chance to play Silent Hill before Pokemon, or it'll just be Pokemon, Silent Hill, and then I don't know. Maybe I'll play another horror game or so. Maybe I'll just say, okay, it's time to play Kai. Maybe I'll just wait till I think January is when Kai's supposed to come out in English. I might just do that instead. We'll see. We'll figure it out. But I think that's it. See ya.